Well, listen, good news, first of all. I was told in Oklahoma, nobody could understand my accent. I kept moving around all over the place, that I wasn't wired properly, and it was all very bad because only half the audience could figure out what I was saying. So I now have this notice I'm the only one that's got this very special Madonna mic here. It's a little bit effeminate, like a bird, you know. And I'm taking a long time adjusting. Well, here we all are. Thank you. You know, and I guess, you know, we've come from all corners of the United States and Canada to be here, the glorious metropolises of the Northeast and the sandy beaches of Southern California. And from that bit up in Seattle, the rocky bit at the top there, and I guess the caipirinha drinking mob from the Key West. Is that? No, I don't expect many people. I thought you'd be in Key West. That's a wild place. And of course, everybody else in the middle as well. I mean, we're all here today, and you know what? I know exactly why you're here. And you know something? I'm not going to keep you in suspense any longer because I think we should show it to you right away. I'm glad you're here. Are you ready right now? Here it is. Wasn't it worth the wait? Wasn't it worth those thousands of miles you traveled just to see that gorgeous thing of beauty? Euphoria Dancia, the queen of all mayflies. 17th of May, 4:30. You know, they always rise at 4:30. This one's a little early at 4:25, you can see, but right on time. And I guess half the audience now don't know a single thing that I'm talking about because you weren't in Oklahoma, right? If you weren't in Oklahoma, this is the National Geographic Conference. The prepaid legal one is just down the street. Well, I'll tell you the truth. If you weren't in Oklahoma, I was freshly working in marketing at that time, and quite frankly, I didn't have any material. So instead of doing a marketing presentation, I actually talked about my fishing expedition that was coming up, and it was about the mayfly. And the mayfly, the great miracle of the mayfly, is that they grub around on the bottom for 2 years, looking ugly and kind of trying their best to survive. And then on one particular day in the last 2 weeks of May, always between the 17th and the 25th, they choose to rise. And they rise to the top, but they all rise as one. Thousands and thousands and thousands. And they pop to the surface and they fly. And the guys, they dance. That's why they call them Euphoria Dancing. They dance and they dance. They dance themselves almost to exhaustion until the girls decide to join them. They mate quickly. The guys then die in exhaustion and ecstasy at the same moment. Franco Coin, I don't want to expect you to try this later on. And that way, you know, the girls go upstream 4 or 5 days later, and up to 4 or 5 days later, and they lay their eggs. Now, this unfortunate one, I didn't get the hatch. Unfortunately, I caught about 5 trout. I put them all back, so nobody was damaged in the making of this little movie. And this was at my lunch break when I was very disappointed. I knew the hatch wasn't happening then because it was already late. But then this mayfly turned up. We think she's female because she's hanging around at the end of the bar trying to look nonchalant against, and clearly trying to attract my fly that's there. Probably thinks that's a male. I mean, you've got to feel sorry for this mayfly because, you know, she doesn't know what good looking is because she's been grubbing around and suddenly she looks gorgeous and she's just looking for anything that's right. And he looks vaguely right. So you'll be pleased to know I delicately took her back. I saw about 12 mayfly, that's all. Because unfortunately, she got the timing wrong. She was supposed to be there in 2 days' time. I hope she hung on, because she can hang on if she's a she, for the real hatch to take place. But that's not going to affect us, because we are all here together. We're here together in our thousands today. We all made it here at the right time. We all made it here at the right time to see the transformation of this glorious company into something fantastic, just like that mayfly. So, let me tell you what we're going to talk about. And, oh, good. You know, I normally can't read this, and I thought I was going to have to use glasses, and there was tape in me and all that, but I can read it, so we're in good shape. Today, I'm going to tell you everything. Everything you need to know about the new company. There's going to be no secrets at the end of the next, I would think it's probably going to be about 3 hours. I would advise you, I hope you've all gone to the loo and everything beforehand, because it will be content-rich. It's not something that you want to miss any part of. I'm going to start by this first piece up here is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to introduce you to the rebranding. I'm going to tell you what we did, how we did it, what we learned in process. I'm then going to show you the new logo, and most importantly, I'm going to show you the new brand positioning. We will then hand it over to Larry and Jesse, and they're going to take you through how we interpret that brand platform in a brand new flip chart, a new customer brochure, and the thing that I'm most pleased about, the membership kits, because I have to say, I love everything. Well, you know how much I love the prepaid model. I think it's just fantastic. The disruptive model, we'll talk about that before I'm done. But the membership kit of all of those things, you know, congratulations, you've just paid your $35 and you get this thing and it's brown and you open and it says, the will. And I thought, you know, this really makes me want to lose the will to live. I feel so depressed when I'm opening. I don't want to do anything else, you know what I mean? So I've been on a mission to do something about that membership kit. So when the guys present the membership kit, you know, give it an extra special cheer because I think you're going to like what it looks like. We're then going to talk about training. There's going to be new training. There's going to be a new associate kit. I'm really excited about the new associate kit. Why don't I give a bit of a away? It's the so-called business in a box. And you'll like business in a box a lot. By the way, thank you to Brian Carruthers, who made me go and get myself enrolled and get a welcome kit. He said, Alan, you want to get the welcome kit and you'll want to change it. So we got a new welcome kit. We have first step is a new online training in the first 48 hours. We got new basic training. That's the name of it, not fast start. I couldn't understand why you did fast start training when there was no slow start training. So we're going to do basic training. We'll be introduced to the PowerPoint. We'll be introduced to the workbook. There'll be a new trainer's manual. And then, of course, how we do fast start qualifications. And then once that's done, you think there's no more to come? There is more to come. My favorite project since I've been here has been the Benefits Association. We've done something exceptional with that. Melissa Wilder has been chosen to present it to you. It's just a fantastic project. And by the way, I'll probably mention his name again before we finish, but Toby Perkins, who was about the first person I met when I got to ADA back in February, when I really wanted to do something with this, has worked endlessly between now and then, to get this to market. And you're going to like that a lot. Then we'll talk about the website a little bit. And finally, I'll show you the viral advertising and what you might be able to expect to that coming in the future. So that's everything. Let me do my bit. In those that were in Oklahoma, those that weren't in Oklahoma, I just didn't talk about the Mayfly. That was just 15 seconds. In fact, I talked about the Mayfly more now than I did then. So you'd miss nothing. What I did talk about in Oklahoma was the disruptive model. Do you remember that thing about the disruptive model? And I set an expectation, and I'm going to remind you of the commitment I made on that day, because, you know, I don't tell lies. And I said I thought this company looked quintessentially like a disruptive model. And I quoted companies, big companies, like IKEA, I think, and Starbucks, and Southwest Airlines. And I'm just going to remind you a little bit about that disruptive model, because something you need to take this on board real serious. I'm going to be, I mean, the whole presentation's serious, of course, you know, in a light-hearted kind of a way, but this first bit here, if you understand this, then you'll see the incredible, phenomenal potential we've got in our hands that I'll be able to demonstrate over the next 3 or 4 slides. So let me take you back to the business theory. The business theory is about the disruptive model. And what was different about a company like IKEA? Traditionally, when you enter a market, you see the size of the market. Say, what's the size of the market? I don't know, 5 billion, say. And you say, oh, good, 5 billion, so I'll enter that market, I might be able to get 10%. So we've got a $50 billion opportunity. You see the size of the market, you see how much you want to capture. You think for 1 second that a company like IKEA, in the disruptive model, which is different, the disruptive model is different. IKEA didn't go and look, and said, what is the size of the flat pack furniture market? If he'd have done that, he'd have said, well, the size of the flat pack furniture market is this big. How much share can I get? They didn't do that. They reinvented the market. They reinvented the market, and therefore they created the market itself. Flat pack market almost didn't exist before IKEA. You got that thought? It's important that you absorb these thoughts. Do you get that thought over there? Good. I'm going to test over here with the next one. You got it all over here, guys? We're going to talk about... Oh, a bit brighter. Okay, let me talk to you guys about Starbucks. Remember Starbucks? Do you think for a second, when Starbucks were trying to get into that market, they said, oh, what's the size of the cappuccino market? Maybe I can get 50%. No. They were a disruptive model. They said, I'm going to up the quality of this product. And what product were they selling? You know, in my opinion, they were selling just an exquisite moment of ecstasy, you know, which by the way, I did enjoy this. I go to Starbucks this morning, as I do every morning, just an exquisite moment of ecstasy. And then the cappuccino market is this big. In other words, they didn't try to get a share of the market. They created the market. There was a market that wasn't exist. There was a demand there. Do you get that? There was a demand there for this cappuccino, but they never got it. Do you get it on the flat pack? The flat pack, there was a demand there, but nobody understood it because they never captured it. You must understand the basis of the disruptive model, because that's what a phenomenal company is able to take advantage of, and that's what I might talk to you about a little bit in 5 minutes' time. Let's talk a bit now. Okay, now that bit you've got to absorb in your heads and leave it there for a second. I'll spring it out a little bit later on, so just kind of keep it subliminal. Let's talk a bit about branding. What is the purpose of the branding, and how can I just give it to you in a nutshell? See, we've got the disruptive model, and it needs to be unleashed. And the branding is the way in which we unleash it. This car here is not very nice. It's not my car. Used to be my car. In fact, the car's here. We just parked it. Can you see it here? It's here. This car, I've decided to sell it. It's breaking my heart to sell this car because I've been working a lot on this car. And in fact, it's got inside it a Ferrari engine. Impressive, huh? You'd never guess, would you? You'd just never guess. It's a Ferrari, I'll tell you, even better. It's got the Ferrari transmission, and it's got the superstructure. You just can't tell it's a Ferrari, but it goes fast. Trust me, it goes fast. Unless I want to sell it, I think it's worth a couple of grand. But quite frankly, with that Ferrari engine in there, it should be worth more. I'm going to try and sell it for 5 grand. So what do? I park my car in front of my house. Here's my car, here's my house. I'm now going to wait to see if anybody's interested in my car. What's happening here? People are walking past, nothing's happening. Do you know why? Because they don't think that thing is worth 5 grand. It's ridiculous, right? Because it looks too bad. I can't think of a better word than bad. So what do I do now? I decide to go direct selling. So I go out, and I wait here, and I'm looking for people walking past my car until I see somebody's eyes move and show a little bit of interest. And when they show a little bit of interest, I decide to go what you guys call belly to belly, which I think is a bit rude, quite frankly. I prefer... Why don't you say face to face? It's no innuendo then, do you know what I mean? I need to acculturate into this. I would say the other way, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Face to face, say with me. You know what I mean. Okay, so you now decide to go face to face. And you say, hey, I see you're looking at my car. And he said, well, not really. I said, no, thank you. You interested in a car? Yeah. Let me have 5 minutes of your time. I think you may or may not be interested. Why don't you give it a try? Do you think that line would work? Sit in it. He sits in it. I've got to try and now do Ferrari sound. Brum. I don't think it goes brum, does it? In fact, I know the Ferrari motor engine is a race engine that goes in there, so it's more like a woo, right? Okay. So we're going to take it for a little ride around the corner. I haven't done this since I was 3. Brum. Brum. Wow, that is some car. Yes, it is. How is it like that? Well, it's a Ferrari engine. Whoa, let me have another go. That is too cool. Thank you very much. I love it. You want to pay $5,000? $5,000, certainly. He takes the $5,000. See, the power of direct selling is it blows through everything that can be seen, and it takes you directly to where you want to be, where the product's about. And that's a little bit how prepaid legal works right now. You can't see it, but if you get belly to face, then you see it. I'll get with the program, you know. Give me time. Okay. Same engine, same transmission, same price, same deal, different car. I parked my car in front of the house. I put the sticker on. I go back to the house. I turn round and I look out the window. I can't see because there's so many people crawling on the grass like this, waving me thousands of dollars. That's the rebranding. That's the rebranding. Let me tell you how we did it. We started in, having made the decision, we started in May, and those of you students of marketing will be able to follow this process very well. We went through the processes. We just went through the processes in normal time to start off. We just went like a rocket at the end in order to make this presentation, but everything else was done really quite properly and quite robustly. We sat there in May, and the first step in a branding exercise like this is decide what your company is. So there's a lot of kind of meeting and brainstorming and all these kind of things. And eventually you come out with 3 sentences, and that normally takes you 3 or 4 weeks, and it took us all of that time. And then we go into a focus group, and in this case we went into the focus group on the 23rd. And when we went into the focus group, we started talking about what this company was and how you saw it and so on and so forth. And we found out something about the prepaid name which disturbed us a little bit. And the prepaid name, they didn't see, I mean, some people saw it okay. The guys in particular said, well, it is what it is, isn't it? You know, it's prepaid legal, you know, not an emotional bone in their body, really. And then, but other people, in fact, the majority of people said, prepaid, like, well, that can't be real, can it? I mean, if you haven't got a real phone, you've got a prepaid phone. If you don't have a real credit card, it's a prepaid credit card. I mean, isn't it something to do with quality? You know, that you don't, it's like anything that's prepaid has got to be lower quality. Sounds like it's lower quality legal. Prepaid phone, prepaid gas bill, prepaid electric bill, people who can't afford, you know, et cetera, prepaid legal. So there's a quality implication to it. Also, they were a little bit put off by the word paid. They said, well, prepay and pay more and pay less, where you prepay and you pay some more afterwards. You pay the first bit and then it's the second installment. Don't forget, I'm talking to unawares. They haven't had the chance yet of face-to-face. When they've gone face-to-face, it's okay. You can cure all that. But I'm talking about unawares, what they're thinking of us. So clearly there was a bit of an issue. So then we said, okay, so what would happen if we changed the name? And so the next phase, the next month, was spent exploring names. We started off with about 150 names, not all great ones, of course. We went down to about 30. We screened from 30 to around about 12, which was on our shortlist for quite a long time. And then we went back into test. And we went back into test with I think, 7, as I recall. And when we, in the second phase testing, we had more now ideas about what names might and might not resonate in some way, and we kind of narrowed it down. I think we kicked out about 2 or 3, but it really wasn't as conclusive as we'd like it to be. So at that point, we went on and we went into June and decided to go into what they call quantitative testing. Now, before we started, sorry, can you tell me I'm behind by my slides? I can't actually read these things in front of me. I've gone to July. Thank you very much. You're with me. I just can't, just follow what I'm saying. It's okay. You don't need to follow those things. Okay, so now we're in July, and we decided to go into market testing. Now, before we market tested, of course, we needed to know what we're testing. And this is a very important thing that I'm going to do now, right? Because this is right at the heart of how the rebrand works and what should happen. Because it's not a case of thinking of the nicest possible name. Do you understand what I mean? We've got something to communicate. We've got a Ferrari to communicate here. We need to understand how to do that. So I hope here we are. Guys, if you can't read that, I can't read it, so let me get my glasses out here. Are these my medium distance ones? Let's have a look here. Otherwise, somebody's going to have to come up and read this statement for me. Read amongst yourself until I get these proper glasses. Here we are. Okay. I think we're in good shape. I'll have to come to the front here. Vitally, I know this is not great presentation technique to make you read 120-odd words, and I know that. Yeah. It's vital you read the words. You must read the words. The most important words you're going to read. I mean, these are the most important words you're going to read for a couple of years. There are many times, and bear in mind when we're reading this, we're describing our company. We're describing our company, and we're going to describe our company to people who've never heard of us and ask us, therefore, what this company should be called and how it works and how it functions, etc., etc. You understand? There's a lot riding on this statement. There are many times in life when it would be satisfying to be able to talk to an attorney without worrying about the high hourly costs. ABC, name of the company, is a legal services provider that enables you to work directly with an accomplished law firm for a flat monthly fee. With this service, you'll be able to get the legal protection that is your right, no matter how traumatic or trivial the issue. Your on-call law firm will help you navigate a variety of everyday issues, such as reviewing contracts for your mortgages, car loans, traffic tickets, or apartment leases. They'll also prepare or update your will, assist in credit disputes, cell phone contracts, or answer any other legal questions you might have. Just a simple phone call puts you in touch with an attorney, not a paralegal, who will provide unlimited legal advice to help protect you and your family. That's our company, and that's our product. The next phase of this was decision analysts. I'm hoping that Jerry Thomas is here today. Jerry, if you're up there, just stand up for a second. I'll get you in a few minutes, but can you stand up so the camera will pick you up? Okay. You got him right there? Okay, let me just tell you about Jerry. Jerry, keep standing. Have you got Simon with you? If you've got Simon with you, ask Simon to stand up as well. And somebody tell me the two people standing up there. Oh, good. Okay, so I'm guessing it's Simon. Okay, Jerry Thomas works for this company, Decision Analysts. In fact, he's the CEO of Decision Analysts. He is on the board of the American Survey Research. He's a chair at or has been chair at the University of Texas Market Research Bureau. He writes, he lectures, and he has a number of clients. His favorite one, he tells me, is Jack Daniels. But he also does these other ones. Jerry, you can sit down for a while now because we're going to come back to you. If you can remember where he is, we'll come back to Jerry in a second. Jerry plays a very important role in what is about to happen next. I'm just trying to demonstrate to you that he's the real deal. Look at the accounts that these guys handle. Decision Analysis is the largest privately owned market research company in the USA. They work for Visa, they work for AT&T, they work for J&J, they work for Target, they work for Quaker, they work for Sears, Yahoo, and Prepaid Legal. They found out all sorts of things. And I've got to tell you the truth about this story happened because it is a fantastic story that I'm going to tell you now. We're champing at the bit to get going on the creative because we're fairly committed to, I'll tell you, it's a name change, of course. We're fairly committed to the name change. And so at the end of July, I get what they call the top-line report. And the top-line report, and I'm saying, Jerry, forget about the top-line report. Is there a name or isn't there? He said, Alan, there's a clear winner. I say, good. Great. So we're off to the races. And then I actually went back to England to see my daughter's graduation. By the way, my daughter's in the audience today because I said, if I attend your graduation, you can attend mine. I hope she's enjoying it more than she... Yeah, it's okay, another question. So anyway, I got the report, and now, after coming back from Ellen's graduation, I was in Ada for a week. Everybody will remember, the first week back in August, I was in Ada. And I've got a lot of stuff to do, you know, because we're now kind of cooking on everything. And I tucked Jerry's report into the back of my case, and as I often do my work in Starbucks, I waited till I got out of Ada, and the first Starbucks after Ada is at Ardmore. And I pulled over into the Starbucks at Ardmore, and I thought I ought to read the rest of this report, because all I'd done is the piece that I needed, which was the name. But I knew there was other things in that report. So I started reading the rest of the report, and my hands started to shake. I have never, ever, ever in the history of the world seen data like this. And if every single one of you in this room, all 10,000 of you, were a marketing manager, you would have never, ever seen data like this in your lives. I promise you this, and I'm going to share that data with you right now. Let's start with the easy stuff. Okay. This is what we call a 4-point scale. Okay, so the scales would have been something like excellent, good, not bad, poor, that kind of thing. So if you get the top 2, you're doing good. First of all, look how high the numbers are in positive responses to what we sell. And I can tell you which bits people really like and which bits they like less. These are kind of positive. But let's start with the 87%. 87% of people feel excellent or good at being associated with a product that is, that talks to an attorney without worrying about high hourly costs. If you want to ring somebody's bell, I almost guarantee that if you say, talk to an attorney without worrying about high hourly costs, they'll get turned on. You understand what I mean? They'll also get turned on, can you see the 86% at the bottom, by just a simple phone call puts you in touch with an attorney, not paralegal. They like that. A simple phone call is a very good thing for them to like. They really, 84% enables you to work directly with an accomplished law firm. They like the idea that I would suggest that they're not working with prepaid legal, but directly with an accomplished law firm. Prepaid legal just caused that to happen. They like the idea of unlimited legal advice to protect their home and their family. You can see how that works. And then the other ones come down a little bit. Next level down is these flat monthly fee things, because we're talking price a little bit different. So first of all, very, very positive on the product. Let's have a look at something else. Oh, I think I probably didn't press. I don't know. Amy, if I agree, okay. Yeah. Okay, those of you who are students of marketing will know that when you see a report, you only ever read 3 things. You read overall results, amount of interest, and purchase intent. Overall results is normally the summary of do people feel good about what you've been testing. The overall interest, we'd actually measured overall interest, says, let me think of a product. You'll see this product here? See, I could ask you the question, I could say, you guys interested in the product? It's a very interesting product, this. What it does is you press it, and then Amy clicks over the slides at the back. But you're kind of interested in this? That's what they call purchase interest. That's product interest. A more telling measure is if I say, not are you interested, I say, would you like to buy it? Would you like to buy this product? I don't tell them the price. Well, I can tell them the price at different levels. You can see how, actually, the question's at the bottom. If this new service were available at a monthly price of X, how interested would you be in describing? That's what we're saying. Just look at these numbers. I know you guys have been quoted, and I've been here, and I've listened to some of the, like you say, this product's for everybody except the top 10% because they're too rich, and the bottom 10% because they're too poor. I think that's the pitch there. Therefore, 80% of people are interested. I can tell you precisely how many people are interested. Right? Definitely will subscribe, 14%. Right? Now, look, you see the note there. Alan, we use top 2 box. This is a note to me to tell me, and by the way, in market research terms, almost always you use top 2 box. Very seldom top box only. So now, probably would subscribe, this is now positive intent, is 14 plus 24 is 38. Let me translate that for you. If I walked out onto that street today and I pulled 10 people over, 4 want to buy this product. That's what it means. Definitely want to buy this product. You understand that? Let me go a little level down, because it gets more interesting. If I go to the next level down, which might or might not subscribe, these are people that are not negative. Below there, they're kind of negative. They may be gross negative, or they may be just sort of slightly negative. I don't know, because I haven't just pulled that data. I'm not really interested in them, to be honest. The might or might not subscribe could be turned by direct selling, by the face-to-face. They don't know really what they don't know, and therefore by face they made. So my total scope of market is probably about 7 out of 10, 70%, not 80. Bit exaggerated, guys. I don't know if you got to the 80, but 70 is a bit, yeah. But 70 is a big number. Now, let me tell you something else. Why don't we do what normal marketing people do and say, I'm interested in the 4 out of 10? If I'm interested in the 4 out of 10, there are 226 million adults in the USA, right? There is, therefore, potentially, 4 out of 10, 86 million adults in the USA interested in this. If we're selling to couples, pairs, you know what I mean? Therefore, let's say that they're all in couples, so that's 43 million. So possibly maybe 40 million. Right? If I can get to 70% of those, 30 million customers. Now, listen to this carefully. Listen, this is really important here. 1.4 million members today, 30 million people at least want to buy it. We sit there and we try and analyze this, and we try and say things like, oh, we're 1.4 million. Wouldn't we have a cracking good year if we grew 20%? That would make us 1.7 million. How about if we grew 100%? That would be 2.8 million members. I'm talking 30 million members. This is a very scalable business with phenomenal potential. Let me tell you some more things. How many of those people are interested in recommending your product to somebody else? Definitely would recommend. I never ever saw, definitely would recommend 38%. I mean, that's like a Chanel number or something. I mean, that's a huge, huge number. Probably would recommend 34%. 72% of consumers would like to recommend this product, our product, to somebody else. That's a huge number. Do you know who they'd like to recommend it to? I can tell you who they'd like to recommend it to. They're not going to recommend it to the plumber. They're not going to recommend it to the mailman. They're going to recommend it to the family or friends. In fact, you could turn the question on its head and say, do you know any of your family and friends who will be interested? You don't have to say, do you know anybody who will be interested? Just say, do you know any of your family and friends who will be interested? And that will get them there. I like the silence. You must be loving it. Let me tell you something. If you love that, you need to pay really special attention to this. Remember in the start I said, over this side, we were IKEA over this side, right, you guys? Remember the IKEA story? The flat pack? You all had it in your head? Flat pack market didn't exist, remember? IKEA came along, said, I'm going to sell flat pack, I'm going to ignore the size of the market, I'm going to create the market. You understand that? You guys over here, we talked about Starbucks. Remember, you had it in your head? We have Starbucks, cappuccino market is like this. They don't care. We're going to create the market. Remember that? Watch this graph and be very, very attentive. We asked this question at the bottom. Now, the question that we're asking here is not a proper question. It's a question designed. I've asked this question a lot of times. When I was in cosmetics, you ask it a lot of times. You say, tell me about this product and tell me, is it similar to another product? And what you're really asking them to tell you is there any competition? Because if there's a competition, if I say, you know, I've got my, I've got my noni juice, they'll say, is it similar to another product? Yeah, noni juice is very similar to this juice or this juice. Do you see what I mean? The power of your brand exists in whether people see it among competition. 61% of people said that this is unique and different. They couldn't see a competitor. 9% said there was a product very similar to this on the market by a company called Prepaid Legal. 30% said there were other companies out there, but basically we don't know who they are because you could get it through work. In other words, when we talk about competitors like Hyatt, Nayrag, and things like that, they don't recognize, the customer doesn't recognize it. All it recognizes is a work program. I'm in the IBM program, which gives me this, but they don't recognize the brand. In other words, we're the only brand out there. But more importantly than that, we're unique and it's seen as unique and different. Now, what am I showing you here? Try to relate now back to the IKEA thing, because this was the bit that got me shaky. This was the bit that made me have a phone call with Jerry on the way back. Said, Jerry, I'm coming in. We need to talk for about 3 or 4 hours and go through this, because there's something here. And what's there is there's people see that, you've seen how much they like it. You got that, right? They like it. They'd like to refer it. They love it. They want to buy it. They've got positive intent, and yet they can't find the product. There's an unmet need. Like flat pack furniture was an unmet need. Like cappuccino was an unmet need. Like legal services is an unmet need. This is proof positive that our intuition on the disruptive model was absolutely correct. This is a I've never seen one. I've never seen a disruptive model. I wondered how it would play out. It plays out like this. Now I can see it. And when I talked to Jerry, I'm going to ask Jerry to stand up in a second, we got to this slide, and I was in stunned silence at this point, and he said, Alan, you know what this means, don't you? And I said, it means big. And he said, it means multi-billion dollars big, Alan. That's what it means. Jerry, stand up again. Thank you. Jerry, stand up. They're wanting to see you. They couldn't see you because they haven't got a lighter. Jerry, stand up again. There he is. Okay, you're done. Thank you. I mean, doesn't that make you want to go home right now? I mean, job done. You know what I mean? Oh, I tell you, what a day that was. What a day. Jeez. They just don't get better than that day, I tell you. Great day, Jerry. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Exhausted. Let's have a look at. We ain't got the branding yet. Okay, so then August we're charging, right? August we're charging. And now we know we got the disruptive model. We know the power of the thing. We know the name. We've got to develop the brand. We've got to develop the logo. And we've got to develop the creative direction. And, excuse me, I'm just going to have a look at what slide comes next because I don't want to pop it up ahead of time. And, oh, that's right, I know where I am. Okay. So, I think it's about time we probably saw the logo now and the result of all this creative. But before we do that, let me just point out, I'm going to introduce you. Oh, come on, I don't give him a long time up here. Half an hour, I'll be gone, that'll be it. Let me enjoy. Okay, listen, this video, I'm going to show you in a second, I'm going to show you a video. It'll be 2 minutes before I get to the video. And the video will be it, right? You'll see it then. And in the video, now first of all, apologies to my Canadian friends out there. Really, I do apologize. But I started I started the video with in America, and it wasn't a mistake. But in Canada, we can take out the in America, and it works just as well. You'll find you'll be all okay, guys. But the reason I started with in America is that America for me is a brand. I don't come from America, even though my daughter is American. But I appreciate America from the outside. And everybody knows that America is, as the young lady sang the other day, land of the free and the home of the brave. And and you should reflect on what gives you that freedom, because there's not a more regulated country in the world than America. And the interesting thing is that you can't really have freedom without authority. If you have freedom without authority, it's anarchy. We saw it in England in a couple of months' time when people just go nuts. You know, people are not allowed to go nuts. So, for example, if the next-door neighbor's dog is barking and it's just getting on my nerves, it's wrong for me to go over there and shoot the dog, you know? There's a law against shooting the dog, and it's bad. And so what I have to do, but there is a law that says the dog shouldn't bark so much. So I write a letter, and I send it to this guy over here, and he gets the letter, and it says, can you shut your dog up? And so he goes out, and he's not allowed to kick the dog, you know, because that's also abuse, and you can't kick a dog. So what he's got to do is find another way. Now, what I'm saying here is that there's lots and lots of laws in order to keep that freedom, lots of authority to make that freedom. In other words, I am free, as a person here, I am free to live in my backyard with a dog barking every now and again. The dog is free not to get kicked or shot. The guy over here is free to have a dog as long as he doesn't bark too much. That's the way it goes. And in America, we've developed so many laws and rules and by minutiae in order to get us as free as we can. I signed a lease on an apartment a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, and I was shocked at the depth of this. Look at this thing I had to sign. And I probably need my glasses again here. This is my bed bug addendum. You see that? And I said, well, there's a law on bed bug? What's that all about, right? And yes, there's a law. I sign it. You see my signature here. I'm legally bound by this document. Please read it carefully. And there was two. And I said, well, you know, I thought this was a nice neighborhood. Have you some kind of the flop house? And interestingly, you know, in this legal document is this paragraph I'd love to see on the top right-hand side. You see that? Oh, sorry, right-hand side. Let's go halfway down. It says here, and she said, no, read paragraph 2 on page 2. It's no surprise then that bed bugs have been found time and time again to have taken up residence in some of the fanciest hotels, apartment buildings, and some of the nation's most expensive neighborhoods. So, you know, there we are. You've got rich bed bugs in my neighborhood. But nevertheless, they're regulated. That's my point, you know. And the point is that, you know, that in America, our freedoms come if we understand the law. And if we can work within the law. So unless you've got access to that law, and you all know this story, of course, then you're not free. You are free, but you're not free if you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're not free unless somebody's watching your back, unless somebody's looking after you in some way. That's when you're free. You're free when you understand and you can access that system, and you can get into that system. That's when you have the freedom. Thank you. And I guess now you're more than ready to see the logo, right? So why don't we have a look at it?
In America, every generation is born with a dream, with the notion of equality, with the freedom to make certain choices, to exercise certain rights. The right to life, the right to liberty, the right to pursue happiness. But it wasn't until Harlan Stonecipher was blindsided by a motor vehicle and hospitalized in 1969 that he realized it was money, not rights, that gained you access to our legal system. And after depleting his life savings, defending himself against something he didn't do, Harlan Stonecipher was determined to make legal protection accessible to everyone. Everywhere, no matter how traumatic or trivial the situation, so that no one would ever be blindsided again. And that's exactly what he did. It was the early 90s when an idea to create a proprietary network truly changed the game. It meant that instead of hundreds of good attorneys serving hundreds of customers, now there was one dedicated law firm serving thousands of members. And instead of attorneys waiting for work to get paid, they were prepaid. The business model for legal products was turned on its head, and a whole new scope and level of service was born. What had been a good product became a great product. And now, on-call advice went from being the privilege of the few to the right of the many. That's the product we sell today. How good does it feel to be able to offer that kind of service to your friends, your neighbors, your community? Our product is something to be proud of. It has stood the test of time. 40 years and 20 million times, our lawyers have been there to protect their clients, helping our 4 million users live their lives on their own terms. Our members fear nothing. The protection of our product is total. a shield that watches over them and their loved ones, protecting their rights, their freedom, and their future. Everyone, everywhere, deserves to wake up with peace of mind, feeling protected every day, every night, now and forever, by our new company, Legal Shield. Total access, total freedom.
Thank you. It's good, huh? Oh, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. No, there's more. No, thank you. Oh dear. No, thank you. Listen, we've got to get on. Very good. Well, you know, I hoped you'd like it. I was a bit... Nothing prepared me for that. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Legal Shield, and let me tell you a little bit how, because I've got a few more things to show you about this, because this is just the logo. Guys, this is just the logo. Wait till you see the rest of it. A Legal Shield does capture everything that we talked about in the brand. You understand exactly how that works. And of course, the tagline here, total access, total freedom, is something that we'll be using, but we may change that from time to time as we go forward. Let me tell you something about the logo that you need to know, just out of interest, really. The brief to the agency, and the agency are here, and I'll introduce you to them in a while, but was to, when we had the name Legal Shield, I was really bothered that we finished it with a shield. And so the brief to the agency was, do me a logo without a shield, the name's Legal Shield. And that takes a lot of doing. They came up with about 15 ideas. This was the nicest one for a number of reasons, which I'll show you in a second. The colors, by the way, are a soft black and a soft gold, because we really wanted to carry something of the old company forward. So that legal is not quite it's a grey bluey color. It drains down to blue eventually, and the gold color is a little bit punched up, and so you've got this kind of contrast, but it's certainly not a yellow. So the colors are kind of subtle in their own little way. The other thing I point out to you here is the serif font, which is the Legal Shield. I don't like serif fonts as a rule, like Times Roman and things like that. But we found out during the course of the research that people like they like seriousness in their legal product. When we were showing the existing prepaid literature, one thing they liked about it is, they said, well, we don't think it looks very good, but we do like its seriousness. We did actually test a name called Safeguard, where we dropped the U out of the lettering, and people said, would you trust the legal company, would you trust somebody who couldn't spell their name with your legal advice? Do you see what I mean? So it's quite important that people are looking for that hint of seriousness, and we think we captured that in the font. And then, of course, underneath is this modern font, because we're a modern legal company. Let me show you why we think it's a decent name. This is how it tested. It was the winner. It got excellent top 2 box again. 79% thought it was an excellent to good brand name. They thought, 88% of them thought it fit that service statement that we had. They thought it really nailed that. 2% thought Legal Shield was very difficult to pronounce, but 98% were okay with it. And then, and 71% very nicely thought it was unique and different. So that is a good, that's a good indication. Let me show you what the literature looks like. This is what the business cards, envelopes, letterhead, members cards. That's how the graphic interpretation goes. But I think the thing that you'll find most fascinating and the thing that thrills me about this particular project is the ability for us to use this is the iconic image that we're going to use. For example, this will be on the front of the flipbook. I want you to look at this piece very carefully, because this is a money piece. First of all, notice how the shield will drift away from the logo if required. That's quite an important thing, so that people will be able to see and identify by the shield. Not only that, but the ellipse shape forms an integral part of the message in this case. And the message is interesting. We went through thousands of different shots to try and get there. But the agency came up with this idea. It was a very interesting idea of this family. Notice it's a family. Notice that they're turned with their back towards you. Right? So this is not usual. How many people advertise and don't show the faces of their models? Their back is towards you. Why? Because now they look vulnerable. And yet they're not vulnerable at all. They are vulnerable because their back's to you and they're in open space. And almost anything could be creeping up behind them, couldn't it? Let's be honest. You don't know what's creeping up behind you. And they don't care. And the reason they don't care is they're protected by us. This use of iconography is not only, this is what you pray and look for in marketing, differentiation. We're not out there with a duck. We're out there here with something that gives a subliminal message. We're out there with something that portrays our product. We're out there positioning ourselves as someone who will look after, who's looking after their people and trying to capture that in the logo itself. And I'll show you a few more shots of the same. So you'll see this customer-facing imagery, repeated in several ways. I love the shot at the top left, by the way, where the little girl is looking behind. She's aware there's something there. The parents don't care because the parents are protected. Similarly, use of white is quite important. Disappearing off into the woods without a care. This is the kind of imagery that drops behind the new legal shield, and this is what helps to turn it basically into a Ferrari, because now you understand that the product is backed up somehow by the branding and the imagery, which perfectly reflects what the product is.